Hello and welcome to the Weather Hazard Briefing presented by National Weather Service Pocatello for Tuesday, February 11th. Here's what you'll see in this presentation. We have bitter cold temperatures that have settled in and they will take over through Thursday morning. We have extreme cold warnings issued for portions of eastern Idaho, both for tonight and for Wednesday night. There's also some light snowfall expected today and tonight and again on Wednesday and Wednesday night, but it's all less than an inch and probably even less than half an inch, and it's mainly in the mountains. There is a wind shift though on Thursday morning. This signifies the beginning of an atmospheric river event, which are characterized by warming temperatures, and that means moderate to heavy snow should return during this event, which will last through Thursday into Friday and portions of Saturday for at least some locations. And just temperatures very mild, and in fact in some lower elevations it will be rain, for instance in a lot of the lower elevations around Pocatello. So we'll start out with a satellite image. You can see the low cloudiness represented by the blue color, so that's stratus and fog, but otherwise you can see these clouds were presented or developed by the weak trough that is moving through, and this is what will give us maybe some flurries during the day. Again, very light stuff. You can see moving out of Canada in, and this is what has already brought the cold air, or will already has this evening, and will during the day today, as you'll see with the high temperatures. And then out here in the Pacific, you can see the swath of moisture. It's going to take a couple days to get here, but this is the moisture that will be moving in and creating the heavier rain and snow starting a Thursday afternoon. So we start with the weather risk outlook. We have some limited areas of what we call excessive cold warnings. That would include the northern end of the Snake Plain. It does not include the city of Pocatello, but it does include Idaho Falls and Rexburg, and also in the eastern highlands. Mostly areas on the west side of this location along our border with Montana. Elsewhere it will continue to be cold, and there is some light snow again, mostly in the highlands and then in the Sawtooth area. So, and again, this is borderline flurries. Then on Wednesday, again, very cold. The cold air on Wednesday night will slide into the Magic Valley, at least the northern side of it. And these yellow cold areas represent temperatures where the what you would normally think of as the chill temperature, which is now called the apparent temperature because it involves a little bit more than the wind and the ambient temperature. We are looking for the apparent temperature to get as cold as 20 below zero for a good portion of these locations. But again, it should be staying north of Pocatello, maybe even north of Blackfoot when it comes to the Snake Plain. And the Magic Valley will stay in the Shoshone area and eastward from there. And again, light snow. It'll be mostly limited, though, to the southeast highlands, about the only place. Then on Thursday, that's when we have a rapid change. Temperatures really warm up, and wind chills will not be a problem after Wednesday night. And we have some afternoon and overnight snow in a lot of locations, and Lost River, Lemhi County will be a little bit later onset of the snow. And these could have some minor impacts. It continues into Friday as things warm up. You can see some of the lower elevations end up being rain, especially in the afternoon, but even in the morning hours, some of these locations. And just some really light snow, especially in the central Idaho mountains. It won't, not looking for anything significant by Friday. And then on Saturday, you can see it has disappeared actually from the central Idaho mountains, and it is mostly limited to lower elevations where again it will be rain, especially in the late morning through into the early evening. And the only place of significance maybe would be the southeast highlands and eastern highlands. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening this morning. This shows you what the wind chills are doing this morning. We're already approaching, you can see here, minimums of 19 below zero, so it's very close to the 20 below zero over places like Du Bois and Mud Lake. The threshold is actually higher here in the northern part of Clark County, where it has to get to 30 below zero for the apparent minimum temperature. And that's because look at these max sustained winds. The stronger the wind, the lower this number is going to be, the colder it will feel. And so you can see here where the stronger winds are is where you have your core of very cold apparent temperatures. All right, so that's for this morning. Now, starting with the rest of today, you can see we are under high pressure. There's not much in the way of anything moving through. There's a weak low. It will produce maybe some flurries, but it's not even really recognizable here on a national page or map. So here's where the extreme cold warnings are in effect. It starts at 8 p.m. tonight, runs till 10 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday. And you can see it does include the northern end of the Snake River Plain. It does go as far south as Idaho Falls. And then there's this area up in here, which really isn't the Snake River Plain. It's Du Bois, Lone Pine, and Monida. And there, the threshold for extreme cold warnings is actually 30 below zero. And there will be about half of this area will be at 30 below. Actually, the higher you get up in elevation, because there are inversions up here, it actually gets warmer. But so places like Du Bois will actually be the colder spots down in here. Elsewhere in the northern Snake River Plain, including the Mud Lake area and Terraton, all the way over to Atomic City, we're looking at widespread 20 below to around 25, 26 below zero in this area. And again, that is starting tonight, not this morning, but tonight. And it goes through 10 a.m. Wednesday when it will finally warm up. Here are the maximum temperatures for today. We are looking only to, most locations will not get to 20 degrees. We were in Pocatello 30 degrees yesterday, so this is a drop of probably 8 to 12 degrees compared to yesterday for all of these locations. And here's the minimum temperature. This is not the apparent temperature. This is the actual minimum temperature. If you were in a sheltered area with no wind, this is what you'd experience. So all the way down to Blackfoot, you have below zero temperatures. And you could see Stanley, 28 below zero. Just extreme cold funneling in. Here are the apparent minimum temperatures for that same period. And so we are looking at, again, look at all these temperatures. When you start seeing the pink, you're starting to get into colder than 30 below. Actually colder than like 32 below or so. 35 below, excuse me. And so there's good portions of this area in Clark County getting to 30 below zero for tonight. And again, that's because the wind stays up. You can see the wind is starting to develop down here, but you can see even a solid 5 to 10 miles an hour can produce these extreme apparent minimum temperatures for tonight's period. Okay, there will be snow during the day today from that weak trough, but you can see where it's going to be here in the Central Idaho Mountains, mostly in the western portion, and then a little bit over here in the eastern highlands and down from Pocatello southward. There is a risk, and even a risk here in the Oakley area southward. But again, the 1 inch is probably what you might say is overly pessimistic. I'd say it's probably less than half an inch. A lot of places are less than a quarter. All right, so on to Wednesday and Wednesday night. Again, the high pressure is dominating in those clear skies, and the northerly wind on the east side of the high means the cold air continues to funnel in from Montana. So let's take a look at that. The extreme cold warning actually extends southward into the Shoshone area in Lincoln County, northern end of Minidoka County, portions of lower Blaine County, and then that same area in the northern Snake River Plain, including Idaho Falls, Atomic City, Rexburg, and Ashton. So start out with, these are the actual temperatures we're expecting. You see temperatures up a little bit in the southern areas, but same or maybe even a little bit less here in the northern end of the Snake River Plain. And look at these. These are the overnight lows, again in sheltered areas. Blackfoot staying at right around 0, so just a 1 degree difference from the night before, and a lot of below 0 temperatures for those of you living in areas just south of Idaho Falls, northward Rexburg, 5 below, Ashton 7 below. Stanley, you can see a lot warmer or more mild than it was last night. That's because things are starting to change here. A little bit more cloud cover in the western side of our area, especially late on Wednesday night, as clouds will already be moving in. Here's the apparent minimum temperatures for Wednesday night, and this is why we're continuing to keep these extreme cold warnings out. So you can see a lot of 20 to 30 below right in here, all the way over, curling all the way over to Rexburg. Not quite to Idaho Falls maybe this time, but still a good portion of the northern end of the Snake River Plain. And again, here are the winds. Look at these winds down here in the Shoshone area. These are sustained winds of 10 to 20 miles an hour. That's why it gets so cold over there, even though the ambient temperatures actually stay pretty mild down there. The wind chill, just because of this wind, really lowers it down there in the eastern Magic Valley. And again, light to moderate winds up here in the northern end of the Snake River Plain, again causing that 20 to, as you can see, about 26 below 0 in that end of the Snake River Plain. So here's where the snow falls on Wednesday and Wednesday night. Again, most of this is during the afternoon and evening hours. Again, it's less than an inch, and actually in a lot of locations it's less than half an inch. Okay, here's day 3. This would be Thursday. Notice the significant change. We now have precipitation moving in. Here's our low with winds from the southwest bringing in very mild air. We're going to see temperatures jump 10 to 15 degrees from the Wednesday highs to the Thursday highs. This is an atmospheric river event, so things change very suddenly. Look at these temperatures. 34 for Pocatello on Thursday, so that's surging 13 degrees. The overnight lows in Pocatello only 28, so there's only going to be a 6-degree drop on Thursday night. That's because of all this mild air. You can see areas here in the darker green stay above freezing, even at night. So there's a huge change. You can see the warm air really Thursday night does not penetrate into the central Idaho mountains much. It's having a difficult time getting through the higher terrain elevation. But you can see 22 degrees at Idaho Falls, and they were below 0 the night before for overnight lows. And the afternoon high in Idaho Falls just 25 degrees, mostly because the cold air is just fighting to recede, and it doesn't really get up in there. The warmer air doesn't get up in there until after sunset. Here's a 6-hour snowfall. Here's Thursday morning. You can see light snow 1 to 2 inches as far north as Idaho Falls during this time frame, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can see higher amounts here in the mountains and in the Shoshone area. And then for the early evening portion, you can see it intensifies, especially from Blackfoot south and eastward, with 6-inch amounts here in the Bear River Range. And then late Thursday night, again, the mild air continues to funnel in, and the intensity of the precipitation backs off a little bit. We're only looking at 1 to 2 inches, some isolated 2 to 3 inches here in the southeast and eastern highlands, just 1 to 2 inches over in the central Idaho mountains, and very limited area, as you can see, in the Wood River Valley and the west side of the Stanley Basin. So here's the 18-hour total snowfall expected on Thursday and Thursday night. You can see pretty solid accumulations for Pocatello and Blackfoot, Idaho Falls. All of them are expected to get 4 to 6 inches here. Same over in Atomic City. 4 to 6 inches, a lot of lower elevations in the southeast highlands. And once you get to some pretty good elevations, it starts to get in excess of 6 to, here as much as a foot of snow in the Bear River Range. Island Park, just because it takes a while for the snow to get up there, and there might actually be some rain to begin with, 2 to 3 inches in Island Park. So that's all I have. If you have any further questions, you can always contact us at this telephone number here. Check out the weather yourself at weather.gov/Pocatello. And thanks for watching.